somebody from Argentina. Get a phone call. All right, welcome, folks. It's Wednesday, May 22nd, 2013, here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. I want to welcome you to RenmanMusicandBusiness.com. My name is Steve Rennie. I am the Renman, and this little program is called Renman Live. It looks like we got a bunch of new folks here in the chat room today watching the show. So if you haven't been watching our show, shame on you. But let me tell you what we're up to. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, we're getting together with a bunch of my friends in the music business, some very smart, very bright, very talented people. And we're talking about today's music business with folks just like yourself, people that are thinking about a career in the music business, whether it's an artist, whether it's a music professional. If you're interested in finding out about this business, you're in the right place today. Today on the show, we got a great show lined up for you. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to be talking to a gentleman by the name of Adam Thurston, who's a co-founder of a great website called audiotree.tv from Chicago, Illinois. They specialize in recording live performances with a bunch of great up-and-coming bands. We're going to talk to Adam about how they started and what they're doing and how you can be a part of it. I'm also stoked to say that we're going to be talking with a gentleman by the name of Jacob Hemphill, who's the lead singer of a great young reggae band from Arlington, Virginia called SOJA. They've quietly and relentlessly built themselves quite a career, all under the radar of the regular old music business. So today, Mr. Hemphill is going to join us to talk a little bit about the band and how they have managed to take this wonderful ride that they're on and hopefully share some of his insights with some of you folks that are just starting off in the business. So before we do that, I'll remind everybody that this program is about providing a two-way conversation. It's one thing for me to talk, it's one thing for my friends to talk, but it gets much better when you folks are a part of it, and there's a number of ways you can do that. Normally, we'd have my ace intern, Audrey Ben Walid, here, but she is gone. The Duke is taking over. Duke, no, he's sleeping. Yeah, don't pay no attention. And Rocket, you know, these are our unpaid employees. Throw them a little bone and they're good to go, literally. But to take care of all our chat and to help you find a way to get a part of the show, we've got our friend Mr. Cody Romness, who we like to call Trojan Man. There he is. All right, there he is.
Yeah, man.
Pardon for the Trojan Condom Company for borrowing your well-defined brand. Anyway, Cody, tell the folks how they can get involved with the show today.
Definitely. What's up, everybody? I know the chat room's kind of firing right now. Everybody's pretty excited. That's great to know. So what we want to do is we want to encourage the interaction, get you asking questions. We have a couple ways you can do it. You can be an advanced planner. You can click on the live page and go to the submit question tab, which a lot of you have done. You can hit me up directly in this chat room, which is what we're doing right now, and that's great. I'll copy the questions and try to get them in. Or if you can make it happen, call in on the phone. We have our phone number, which is 310-469-9067. That's the best way to get in and the quickest way you can do it. Excited to talk to everybody.
All right, now, Code, let me ask you this. Tell them what they get if they call in on the phone.
You get the sickest t-shirt in the game, man.
There it is. Fuck the gatekeepers. Now, I know we got a lot of folks from South America today, which is awesome. That phone number, 310-469-9067, you can call it from anywhere in the world, and you're going to get a chance to be a part of the show. And I don't know how you say fuck the gatekeepers in Espanol, but we'll ship it down there. You'll have to do the translation. Here we come, all the way to Argentina. There's somebody on there. All right, great. Excelente. Nice work there, Code.
Got it.
Okay, let's jump right into this, folks. A while back, I came across, I was recommended by one of our members here at RenmanMB. They're always sending me hot tips of things to be on the lookout for. And I got a tip from, I think it was Jason M. Matuzik, who's one of our longtime members, who's told me about a site in Chicago, Illinois, called audiotree.tv. The site specializes in doing live recordings of young up-and-coming bands, and they do it in a particularly great way. Today, I'm happy to say that our first guest is a gentleman by the name of Adam Thurston, who's the co-founder and director of operations at Audiotree. As I mentioned, they're based out of Chicago. Audiotree describes themselves as a new music company best known for live performances in studio concert series, and I agree. And I'm happy to have on the Skype, I hope, with us, Mr. Adam Thurston from Chicago Audiotree. How you doing, Adam?
Hey, Steve, what's happening? How you doing?
Good. I wanted to tell you a funny story. You know, we'd heard about your site a while back, Adam, and I'd asked Audrey Ben-Walid, who's not here today, who's our ace intern. I said, I need you to follow up with these guys. And here's the URL, audiotree.com. Send this guy a note. Let's make this happen, right? And 4 or 5 months passed, and nothing happened. And then I saw an email exchange between you and Audrey over maybe the reason you hadn't quite gotten back to. Why don't you tell the other half of the story, Adam?
Yeah, well, basically something we've struggled with from the beginning. You know, the name Audio Tree. You know, first of all, it was one word, and then it was 2 words, and then when we were looking for our URL that we were going to land on, we ran through everything from, you know, everything you can possibly come up with. Audiotree.com happened to be taken by a fellow who runs this Soul Star astrology site or something. So we've had a handful of people that have said they Google searched our name and they're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Looks like you guys are doing some cool Soul Star stuff. And we're like, no, you got the wrong one there. We were looking for audiotree.tv is where you're supposed to be headed. So, you know, we get a lot of emails from people that are like, oh, I saw this site, audiotree.com. And I was like, well, they probably didn't exactly find what they were looking for. So that's always an entertaining one. But I think everybody's getting the gist now.
Yeah, well, it was funny when Audrey showed me the email. She goes, come on, Ren, you were the one that told me audiotree.com. So I confess, I'm the one that screwed her up. And I'm glad we finally got a chance to connect here. In a nutshell, Adam, I think I'm a big fan of live performance, obviously. Becoming an even bigger fan of live performances that are shot at one time and allow people around the world to be a part of it. That's what you guys seem to specialize in. Tell us a little bit about the site and how you got started with this, and then we'll talk a little bit about how our members here can get involved.
Definitely. Well, you know, when we started out, my other co-founder, Michael Johnston, and I, you know, we were sitting there and we started to see a few years ago some people that were doing some in-studio live performances, and, you know, obviously up on the up and up were, you know, filming live concerts and things like that. And but all of them kind of left something to be desired. Either you know, they were focusing on the filming aspect of it, and the audio sounded terrible, or the audio was a focus, but you could barely even see the band playing. And so, you know, we put together this really, really talented team that we have here. And so what we've basically been trying to do is just create the highest quality content possible. And we knew from the beginning, you know, a startup music company that's streaming sessions, we're not going to get the biggest bands in the world in, and we're not going to get, you know, hundreds of thousands of fans watching. So what we did is we like, let's start with the local music scene. Let's start with the bands that are really hustling in Chicago. Let's start with the bands that are doing it right, and let's you know, let's put together the highest quality product we can. And so that's kind of grown from in the last, you know, just over 2 years now, is us starting with, like I said, friends of ours, like an artist named Kellen and me, and The Soil and the Sun, doing sessions with them, smaller bands from the area. But that's kind of grown into the quality, you know, overtaking, and we have a YouTube channel and other outlets for people to see them. Fans are discovering it. And now we're getting, you know, dozens of bands a month a week that are contacting us that want to be involved, and they just think the quality is the highest they've ever seen. So if they're in town in Chicago and they want, you know, need a PR gig or something, you know, they need something to do some promotion instead of doing a radio interview or something, we're getting more and more bands that want to come in and do an Audio Tree live session. And so thus the level of band and the following of the bands that have come in has obviously grown, and it's just been a nice organic growth from day one.
Let me ask you this. Let me geek out with you a little bit here. You know, I've become quite quite informed now on what it takes to present stuff live. Not that I was before, but since I paid for it, I'm now aware of it. You guys do get some great quality out there, and I'm struck today by how technology and the cost of quality has come down. Tell me, how is it? What do you guys use to shoot your shows there? Is it the Canon 5D or something like that?
You got it, Steve. That's it. Canon 5Ds and 7Ds. They just bring, you know, for the bang for the buck, the highest quality. I mean, it just looks great, and the ability for our production team to be able to, you know, move around in a small studio like that when there's, you know, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 10. Actually, we just had a band in a couple weeks ago by the name of Timbre, and she brought a 25-person choir with her into the studio.
Nice.
And so needless to say, you know, we don't have the space to have big red cameras or something. Not that we would afford those or want to use those anyways, but these Canon 5Ds are just doing wonders for us, and they really make for a very interestingly shot, unique look to the sessions.
Now, you guys shoot these in an actual recording studio, don't you?
We do, yes. It's
now, is that studio associated with your company, or is that just someplace you rent?
It's a shared space that we share with a couple other companies. It used to actually it's right here in the Wicker Park neighborhood in Chicago, and there's been some influential, pretty big bands that have recorded here, Iron and Wine and other ones prior to us moving in. We were actually downtown Chicago early when we started doing our first sessions, but this studio is much better set up and higher quality for sure. But yeah, it is a recording studio. We record some bands too, and there's a lot of other projects that go on in there. But kind of the nature of the music business, the studio business is tough. So it's great that we have a couple other companies that kind of share it, and it's just a shared space. But yeah, it's a full professional recording studio up there.
It's funny, I'm jealous because we've done a couple acoustic things here. Our studio is actually my office. It looks like a TV studio now. In about an hour I'll have my desk back where it is and we'll move everything back. You had so much room. We had a band in here the other day. How many guys did we have in here, D? 6-7 guys. It was a fucking chaos, but it sure was great. But I looked at some of your stuff and I thought, God, I wish we had a studio here. But wish, right? Let me ask you this. I suppose the $1 million question is out there. For you folks that haven't been to the site, you should check it out because the quality level is great. You mentioned, doing something like Audio Tree versus doing the typical radio interview where, more often than not, maybe the host is not really prepared and you don't really get a chance to put the visual with it. You can make all that happen there. I suppose the question everybody's wondering is, Adam, how do I get invited to be on the Audio Tree roster?
I love it. No, that's we get that email all the time, and it's simple. We have you go to our website contact page, just email us at music@audiotree.tv. We listen to every submission once a week. We all sit down and we run through everybody that's played, and we pick which bands we obviously, we usually keep it to an average of 2 to 3 sessions a week. But we have it down to a science now, like you said, basically we've done 220 of these now. So we have just a well-oiled machine where we can have a band in, we can load them in, we can set them up, sound check, film the session, and they can be out the door in 3 hours. So that was another thing that was important, when we started this, is because we didn't want to have, another day to be routed into a tour for a band. We wanted this to be something where a band could be coming from Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Detroit. They could get into town at 1 in the afternoon. We could get the band in, and we could have them on their way to make sound check, down at Lincoln Hall or Shuba's or whatever by the time, in plenty of time. So that was the main goal. Is we wanted to make this as high as quality and efficient as possible. But again, the way we find most of the bands we do is there are a lot of submissions, and we discover a lot of music ourselves. I'm listening to music all day, and other partners that are here with us we listen to music all day, but still, you can't listen to every band. So we love listening to submissions, and it's just as easy as emailing us at, like I said, music@audiotree.tv, and we'll give it a listen. And if you're in town, we'll get you in.
Great. Now, we'll talk business guy to business guy. I started this little website of mine. It is kind of a fun thing to do, and to kill a little time while my Incubus guys are on a bit of a break here. And so now that I've kind of gotten into it, we're up to 70 some odd shows ourselves and spent a little money getting it together. Everywhere I go now, everybody goes, Rennie, what's your business model? And the truth is, I don't really have a freaking business model yet, and it's worrying me a little bit. These things cost money to do quality. How do you guys pay the bills on this? Help me out here, Adam.
Sure. No, that's a question we get just almost every day. And, like you said, it can be, a lot of people say, oh, is this just an expensive hobby for you guys or what? So, but ultimately, what we started doing is, at the core, we wanted to make the highest quality content. We knew this wasn't going to be, an overnight thing where, one day we were going to start doing these sessions with an artist like Kellen and me, and then the next day Incubus was going to roll through. We knew that wasn't going to happen. So what we wanted to do is just start with the high quality, plan, the long-term, ascent, and slowly make our way through it. The way we've started paying the bills is, what we thought to ourselves is, if we can not only provide an incredibly high-quality, promo stop for a band, but what we also started getting was fans that were writing us in, that were listening to the sessions on the live stream, and they're like, these recordings sound better than their studio album. And I liken that to the fact that it's that live feel, it's that in-studio practice space style recording that that really comes across well in this format. And so what we started doing is all these people were emailing us to say, hey, I want to get my hands on this Desert Noises session, this band from Provo, Utah, that's friends of ours. How can I get it? And so we're like, well, maybe what we can do is we can figure out a way to come up with a very, very artist-friendly model where they can come in, they can do this for free, no cost up front. And then what we can do is we can cover some of our costs and pay out the band some money by doing a 50-50 profit split of the sessions. So we started selling the sessions for $5.99, the high quality, audio files and the video. And we've been, people have been snapping them up like crazy. So basically what our goal was is like, what if we could come up with a way for fans to discover new music, for bands to have a great promo opportunity while they're in town, and like you said, essentially be seen worldwide because we're streaming this live and, we're putting it on YouTube and our site, which obviously can be accessed anywhere that you have an internet connection. And thirdly, what if we can actually make the bands some money? I mean, Spotify and these other streaming sources have come around, and they're great for music discovery, but we all know the payouts are rather slim, especially for these bands that are only doing a few thousand, selling a few thousand records every time they put one out. So because of that, we wanted to come up with this this medium where we can have not only high quality, great promo opportunity, a music discovery, but also make money for some people. So we started doing that, and our production team started to film live concerts other places as well. We're involved with Lollapalooza this year and other things like that. So we knew it. If we built the brand, if we started at day one building the brand and started to get associated with high quality video and audio content and a good taste in music, that that people would come and want us to do other things for them and other work, and those opportunities have presented themselves. So
well, I think it's great. I've said it a million times here. It's so much fun for me to meet guys like yourself, and I've met so many young people out there that are decided to get into the music business, as dark as the prognostications are, and they're coming up with some really clever ways to make things happen, and I would throw Audio Tree in that bag as well. So kudos to you and all of your team there for doing it. And I made note of all your comments here, see if maybe I can learn something from it. It's funny, when I was looking through your site, there are all kinds of up-and-coming bands there. And and to be honest, lots of bands I'd never heard of, and some bands that I clicked through and thought, okay, this is a terrific act. As I was going through their site a couple nights ago, in a wonderful moment of serendipity and timing and lighting, I noticed that one of the bands that you had worked with was a band called SOJA, who's going to be our guest today. Talk about the SOJA boys real quick.
Yes, that's a great story. That's actually one of our favorite sessions to date by far. Part of the reason is because I think February 18th, 2012 is when we filmed that session, and that was actually at our old studio, which is right down in the River North area, basically downtown Chicago. And SOJA was, at that point, the largest band that we'd had in as far as following and fans and everything. And they were also, driving around a full-size tour bus with a, 15-foot trailer or something. So I'll never forget that session, because it ended up, what we try and do, because we stream them live, we're on a schedule, they load in and we go live at a certain time. We ended up going live about an hour and a half late because we spent about 2.5 hours trying to find a place to park that damn tour bus when they came into town. They roll in, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we should have thought about this before we had them driving down onto Wacker Drive in downtown Chicago and trying to find a place for them to park this massive bus." I feel like their driver had a bit of a headache.
Well, you know what? That driver's getting paid. I'll bet you for a long time the guys in SOJA were driving that van. Hey, we got a question. One more. We got a question for you from the chat room before you go. Cody, what do you got there?
Yeah, this question's from Justin. He wants to know, how crucial is video to promoting your music, and what is the best way to convert video watchers to customers?
Go ahead, take that one there, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, the video, I feel like, the biggest part about video is now, with iPhones and everything in the crowd, you can Google search or YouTube search any band, and you'll get, about 4,000 videos of some guy standing in the back, with an iPhone filming their show at whatever venue they're playing that night. I mean, so the actual converting the people into customers is a tough thing. It's honestly tough, and we still struggle with that a little bit today. It's like, how do we yes, this may be a great performance, but how do we get people to to go out and buy that band's record or go see that band play a show? And I mean, really, there's no easy answer to it. I just think that by us recording and filming them in the highest quality possible, for those bands that come and do these sessions, that tool becomes the most important, a very, very valuable tool, especially up-and-coming bands. Like you said, Steve, a lot of the bands that we've done are up-and-coming bands that are just starting out or are just getting their, feet under themselves and figuring out what it means to get on the road and tour around. And to have this video for them to then send off to the venues to get shows and to, send off to other people, whether it's to get an interview at a radio station or to do another type of streaming session like us. It's huge, and a lot of people have said, man, we get so many shows and we get contacted by a bunch of people because they went to our website, to audiotree.tv, watched the session and, saw one of the best performances they'd ever done. And now they're booking shows and doing other things like that.
Yeah.
So
I'll throw in on that one as well to the question. From a manager's perspective, one of the most important things for any band is getting great visuals, and great visuals that you don't have to pay for when you don't have a lot of money is even more important. But to answer that person's question, how do you make it happen? The truth is, it's a number of plates spinning at the same time. Visuals is a key part of it. Taking those visuals and making somebody want to see you live and pay to see you again, and then coming back again and again and again is important. Making great music is at the top of that list. And it's an interesting question, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it in a second. So that'll be my segue here to my next guest. Adam, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. I think you got a great site. I think you're doing God's work out there for some of these bands and giving them something great to work with and giving them a place to show their stuff. And kudos to you and all your team. You do a fucking awesome job, if you ask me.
Thanks, Steve. Really, really appreciate you having us on, and appreciate you finding us and tracking us down at audiotree.tv.
All right, exactly. I'm gonna put, like I say, I'll take the whipping on that. It's audiotree.tv, not .tv.com. It's just audiotree.tv. Great site, some great music there, some guys doing some great stuff and making a difference in today's music business. Thanks for joining us here today, Adam.
All right, thanks, Steve. Hey, and if Incubus is coming through Chicago at any time in the near future, you know who to call.
You know what? Trust me, I've been taking notes as I've been taking my tour of today's music business, and trust me when I tell you, I'm taking good notes of all the places we'll be visiting. And Chicago is always on the list, and we may get a day off there, so I might take you up on that one.
Beautiful. Thanks, Steve. And say hi to Jacob for me.
You got it. Thanks very much. All right. That was awesome. Great website there, folks. Again, I'll say it. I'm so impressed with how many young folks out there are throwing caution to the wind. They're not paying attention to all the doomsayers out there about the music business, and they're hell-bent to do some great things, and I just think it is freaking awesome and inspiring for this grizzly old veteran. Social media, a big part of the world here. It's been a big part of us trying to spread the word. So we got a lot of great things going on here at RenmanMB. For all you folks who are in the chat room today and you haven't visited before, I hope you'll look around the site because we've got all kinds of great things going. One of the best ways to keep up with what's going on here at the world headquarters is through our social media. So let me run you through some ways to connect with us. First and foremost, one of my favorites now, Twitter. You got to go to our Twitter page. It's at RenmanMB. Not only do we post links to content and different conversations that we're having, one of our ace interns, Miss Jamie Bartle from down at Tulane University, Nolans, is always posting great news items up there that I read myself, frankly, and keeps you up to speed. We also have a Facebook page, of course, trying to keep Mr. Zuckerberg in business, facebook.com/RenmanMB. Got to have one. YouTube, of course. You can see a lot of our videos, all the videos you see there, you'll see on the site. But if you love going to YouTube, don't stop. We actually might make a freaking 100th of a penny for everyone. Go back there one while. It's youtube.com/RenmanMB. We got a great Instagram site populated mostly with pictures of our sleeping dog over here, Duke Rennie. You can never go wrong with the dogs. Do we have his lower third, the professional dog there? People don't know the Duke. All right, skip it. He's a professional dog, sleeps a lot. Instagram, we got all kinds of great stuff, fun stuff. And for me, I like to go back there, and it's kind of a little stroll down our memory lane. And finally, of course, we've had lots of requests for podcasts for folks that want to just drive around and hear it. You're now RenmanMB Live over at iTunes. You can check in and hear our podcast whenever you want. And it's a good way to keep in touch. All right. I'm stoked today. Whenever I find a great new band, I just love it because I know how difficult it is being in a band. And I'm going to tell you a little story. 3 weeks back, I met a young manager by way of our agent, Rob Marcus at William Morris Endeavor. And he put me on to this gentleman by the name of Elliot Harrington. And Elliot is a manager of a band called SOJA. And anyway, he wanted to come and meet me. So I said, drop by, on a Wednesday when we're having a show. And as anybody who knows me would know, as soon as he walked in the door, I was going to put him in the act. Anyway, he started telling me about his band. It was a fascinating story of how these guys have developed underneath the radar. So today, my next guest is the lead singer from that band, SOJA. They're a great reggae band from Arlington, Virginia. Over the last few years, SOJA has sold more than 150,000 albums. They've headlined large venues in countries all over the world. They've generated 20 million plus YouTube views. They have 700,000 Facebook Facebook friends. They've shared the stage with everybody from Dave Matthews to Modest Yahoo. In my mind, they are a textbook case in how to get things right in this new music business. They represent every bit of the mantra that I'm trying to sell you artists, which is fuck the gatekeepers, make something happen. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Jacob Hemphill. You there, Jacob?
That's me, buddy. How are you?
How you doing, man? Hate to get you up early. I know you were working late on some music last night.
No, it's totally fine.
Great. We got a little feedback there. Jacob, you know what? I want to first off thank you for taking the time to join us today. You know, the folks that are coming to our website typically are young artists, people that are dreaming about a career in music like yourself, folks that want to be music professionals, like you know, folks that want to be a manager, a record label, and so forth. You guys have quietly built a career over the last 13 years that represents the best of the indie spirit. You know, big part of that is getting your head in the right place to do something. So today, I'd like to talk a little bit about how I'm particularly interested in talking about is this whole ride that you guys have been on and the way you've gone about building something special. So if that's okay with you, I'd like to just jump in, all right?
Absolutely.
We have everybody wants to know how you get started, whether you're a manager, label person, or an artist. The most difficult part is getting started. The dreaming's easy. The getting started is tough. Give me a brief story about how you got started with this love of music.
Well, I probably started the way most people start. I mean, my dad taught me piano, guitar, vocals, harmonies, all that stuff. And when he started running out of stuff to teach me, he would send me off to lessons. But as far as SOJA went, we kind of we love to play music. That was what we liked to do. And over the course of this road we've been on, this ride as you're calling it, we kind of figured out something that we do that not a lot of bands do. And once I figured that out, it's been pretty automatic since then.
Yeah, you mentioned